Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to our program, Mental Health. Today, I sit in for Father Everestes, and we are privileged enough to have a guest in studio today who will be helping us to understand and through his story that he's going to share. He is a former drug addict who has fought through all the odds to recover, and he will be giving his side of the story. We hope it's gonna inspire you in some way. His name is none other than Collins Owino. Welcome on set, Bona Collins.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So first things first.
Yes.
Uh, you have been an addict at some point
Yes.
in life.
Yes.
Now, could you kindly give to us an account of how you got into the addiction part of it?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The story is very long, but I'll try to be very brief.
Kindly do that.
Yeah. My first interaction with alcohol, I remember very well. I was a very young boy. I think I was around 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That time we were staying in the village, and one of my uncle was a drunkard. And one day I stumbled in a room where he was having his drink, and I took a glass of that liquor, and I became so drunk. And I remember my mother got so upset about it, and she gave me a severe punishment. The following day, she woke me very early in the morning to go to the farm, and it was a very bad punishment for me because I had this serious hangover after the incident.
Yeah, sure.
And after that, my mother became so concerned, and she told me a lot of stories about alcohol. She told me it's not a good thing to expose yourself to. She was even giving me some example of some of my relatives who are struggling with alcoholism and who became not so good. Their life was so frustrated about the drinking. So he told me that if you're not careful with this thing, one day in your future, it will also give you those kind of problems. So this is what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to stop you to avoid.
So literally,
yeah.
what you're saying at the age of 12,
At the age of 12, I got exposed to alcohol.
and that is basically through the spirit of curiosity.
Curiosity, yes.
Curiosity
yes.
is what led you into.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Then the second time, I think when I was in high school during the holidays,
Yes.
I also had some of my friends. But once in a while, when we are going for these parties and entertainment, we would go and drink. But during school days, I never used to drink because our school was very strict with drugs and alcoholism. The principal was very strict. The prefects were very strict with alcohol and drugs. And since I'm somebody who really fear being caned, and I used to see the kind of punishment people who are caught drinking or using drugs in high school. I used to see the kind of punishment they used to be taken through, and I feared so much.
Okay.
So during school days, I made sure that I'm very sober, and that is like 3 months sober in school. But the moment I go back for the holidays, I had my boys who during the weekend, when the occasions, we go and drink. But it was not that much.
So now there's something that you've mentioned here
Yes.
to do with your boys.
Yes.
Is this group of boys the people you grew up with,
Yeah,
or you just met at some point when you joined high school?
These are people in high school we had moved from where we were staying. We moved to somewhere like my mother was doing business.
Yes.
So these are boys I met through that kind of interaction.
Okay.
And that place there was a lot of business going taking place, and most of young men were having a lot of money.
Okay.
And it was a fast life on the fast lane. It was about partying and drinking.
It's all about fabulous.
Yeah, fabulous. So I kind of got absorbed into it, but not in a huge magnitude, because again, even my parents were not detecting that I'm using these kind of things. So we are just doing it occasionally. Sure. When there's a party, when there's a function, but when for like these discos,
Once in a while.
Once in a while, so I will do it.
But behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, so it was not affecting me so much. And when I used to go back to school, I also used to remain so sober. So it was not at that moment. It was not affecting me that much, and even my parents did not detect that something like that is going on.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, you have graduated from just tasting it at the age of 12 years.
Yes.
And now you, to some extent, have some informal arrangements, at least more oftenly when you are in the holidays while in high school.
Yes.
Now, at what point did you feel now it is deep into your
So-
your life.
So after high school, I went to Mombasa where I went for studies, and
Yes.
in Mombasa, in college also the group of people who are over. I could say they were abusing alcohol and
Mhm.
drugs, and I never used to admire that kind of life. So
Okay.
even in high school,
Mhm.
I just went into, I would say, sorry, in college,
Mhm.
I was a casual drinker. Just when there's a party, there's an
Mhm.
occasion,
Mhm.
I will do it. But generally, I was not so much into drinking.
Mhm.
Just once in a while. So in Mombasa,
Yes.
I got introduced to cat chewing.
Mhm.
So, but I went to, in Mombasa, people like chewing cat a lot.
Mhm.
So I had some of my friends, but during the weekends, only the weekends, we used to do it during the weekends, like on
Okay.
Saturdays.
Okay.
After we are done with the whole week, maybe,
Mhm.
because, okay, let me tell you, me, I joined high school,
Mhm.
I did a certificate in pharmacy,
Mhm.
then from that, I got a job somewhere.
Mhm.
So during the weeks, I was busy working, and
Yes.
during the weekend, I
Mhm.
was free.
Mhm.
So I was working, so I had some money.
Mhm.
So during the weekend, I would go join my friends
Okay.
somewhere. We had a
Mhm.
base.
Mhm.
We used to chew mira.
Mhm.
So we'll chew mira, have fun for that
Mhm.
day, go to the beach, chew mira. And one thing with mira,
Mhm.
when I chew it, I get that urge to smoke cigarette. Generally, I was not a smoker and I really avoided cigarette. But the moment I chewed cut
You
mira,
realize it.
it was triggering
aroused.
but
The urge to smoke.
because
Okay.
it's part of the thing.
Sure.
We call it tools. So
Mhm.
smoking is part of the tools. Yeah.
It's part of
So
the
we will do it kwa mtaa, then from there we go to the beach, then
Okay.
at night now we go to the party, maybe a nightclub to drink now.
So literally, you're saying we can try to categorize, like, let's say while in the house you chew cut, and also you when you get out to meet the boys in the base you also
No,
chew mira.
in Mira, we were okay. What used to happen
Mhm.
from Monday, I would say from Monday to Friday, I was busy at work,
Mhm.
or either busy at work or at school.
Mhm.
Then on Saturdays, I was free mostly.
Mhm.
So during my free
Your
time
free
on
time.
Saturdays, where I used to stay,
Mhm.
there was a base somewhere,
Okay.
a base.
Okay.
We call it base. That's where I used to meet my boys now.
Mhm.
So we would start there.
Mhm.
We chew the Mira, then depending on how we decide,
Mhm.
later we'll maybe go to the beach
Okay.
to continue chewing the Mira.
Mhm.
Then at night, depending on how we are scheduled, we'll go to the clubs now to go and party. Now, when you go to the
And the
clubs
same
now,
would also be
now,
transpiring there.
yeah, now when you go to the club now, it will be about now drinking
Okay.
beer and those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that time I was doing it occasionally. It was
Mhm.
only during the weekend. So on
Mhm.
Sundays I was not doing it. On Sundays I was organizing myself.
Okay.
I go to the church. Then
Mhm.
maybe from there I do my laundries, because now again Monday I'm going to school,
yeah, it's a big
or,
day.
or I'm going to work.
Okay.
So it was, I would say it was like I was doing it that time responsibly.
Mhm.
And one thing about me is that when I was not chewing Mira, I was
Mhm.
not smoking. So
Mhm.
throughout the whole week I would not smoke. Even if somebody was smoking next to me, I would not even
Wow.
feel the urge to smoke.
Wow.
Even drink, I could not drink.
But the moment you
But
chew
the moment
Mira,
I chew Mira, I'll get, so it was now like I was doing it during the weekends.
Okay.
So it went, so that way it never affected me that much. I was staying with my aunties. Auntie, they never detected that this boy has a problem. Even my boss at work never used to detect that I have a problem.
Mhm.
Even at school,
Mhm.
people did not realize that I have a problem. In fact, in school, most of my classmates were admiring me because I was like a working class
At the same time,
and I'm in class. So
Okay.
I was like a role model,
Sure.
So it was not affecting me so much during that time.
So, Bonacolis, at
Yeah.
what point exactly?
So
at what
at-
point
at-
did you realize that you are now a real dependent on these drugs?
So what happened is in
Yes.
Mombasa, after that I got a job now where we do this pharmaceutical marketing thing.
Okay.
So during that time, I think now a lot of freedom, a lot of free time,
Mhm.
and now I graduated. So we would drink every weekend.
Okay.
I got into this group of now fanatics of football.
Mhm.
And every weekend we'd go drinking as we watch the football.
Sure.
So it was about partying and beer every weekend,
Mhm.
weekend.
Mhm.
So in Mombasa, I was doing it for a whole year. It was like
Mhm.
that. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was about drinking. And at some times it was even becoming heavy drinking.
Mhm.
Not addiction that much, but
Mhm.
heavy drinking.
Heavy drinking.
During the weekends. So that time it was affecting me in terms of financial growth.
Mhm.
Because I realized that I'm spending a lot of money on drinking.
Then it's
Sometimes I used to black out and lose some of my things,
Mhm.
But it was not affecting my work because from Monday to Friday I was at
Very
work.
much in order.
Then I came to Nairobi.
Mhm.
When I came to Nairobi from Mombasa, I came to Nairobi. When I came to Nairobi, now I got some.
When was that exactly? When was that?
That was in the year 2007.
2007.
Yes.
Now from
Mombasa, I came to Nairobi. So when I came to Nairobi, I met now a group of friends who now were drinking even during weekdays. So, you know, in Mombasa, I used to drink only during the weekend. Because weekdays we were very busy at work.
But now you've found a group of friends who are now serious drinkers.
Yeah, serious drinkers.
Throughout the week.
Throughout the week. They'll drink from Monday to Monday, anytime they are free. Because you see our job of marketing, sometimes we'll escape and get into some joints and drink.
Sure.
So initially I was finding it to be a bit uncomfortable. How will we be drinking during the day when people are working, when we are supposed to be working on about drinking? And you see, because we were not having these strict follow-ups. At sometimes and because I drink anyway, I would find them drinking and I would join them. So initially I was uncomfortable, but slowly by slowly, I became a part of it. I became part of it. So I became accustomed to it. It became now that is the time I started having problems with addiction. So by the time it started affecting my productivity at work, it started affecting my finances, it started affecting my relationships. I started landing into big problems, and now that's the time I got this brand of an alcoholic.
Okay. Now, yes. What's this very, very common thing that, okay, not really common, but the most main thing that happened to you as a negative effect of alcoholism that made you to realize that you have taken a wrong path?
Okay, what happened is after, you know, this happened for a very long time.
Yes.
I was having this problem for a very long time. And fortunately enough, I also had very good friends who believed in me. So every time I would fall down, I had a group of friends who would try to pick me up. Okay. So I would fall down, get picked up, fall down, get picked up. And along the way, I realized that there's some of my friends whom we had started with, and they had progressed in life. Okay. You realize this somebody, maybe got married at the same time, they have gotten a second or third child. This somebody who maybe has bought a plot somewhere, has built. This somebody who maybe we started at the same level, now he's a big manager somewhere. I see people growing both economically, career-wise, socially, you know, even spiritually. Some of them were growing, and some of them were at the same level. At the time, and even some of them I was ahead of them. Kumbuka, me, I was privileged. Even when I was in school, I was still having a job. So I had a head start. Sure. So you realize that even people who came behind me were overtaking me. It was also affecting my social cycle, yes. Both at home, in town. So I became, I had this. To
some extent, you became isolated.
Okay. And everybody now was branding me with this tag of an alcoholic. So I realized this thing is affecting my every sphere of my life. And I'm one person who really likes the good things in life. Sure. I would like to have a good car, a good family, a good home, you know, grow in my career. I'm a very talented person. I'm very skilled. And I realized this thing is wasting me. If there are people that I know their strengths are growing, and me with all these strengths that I have, with this kind of networks I have, with this kind of experience and the knowledge I have, and I'm also very strong in church spiritually, why would I want all this to be wasted just because of a choice that I can make? So that's the time I realized that I seriously need to cut out this thing. Initially,
just hold on.
Okay.
Now you have reached to an extent where you feel it is all that the body needs is alcohol.
Yes.
And at this time, are you married?
At this time, I'm married. You see, initially when I got married, I was a responsible drinker. I used to drink only during the weekends.
Then it escalated.
Then escalated. So my wife, for a long time, understood me. So this guy is drinking, but he's able to work, he's able to do 1, 2, 3 things. Yes. But as we got married, deep into marriage, when we were just expecting our first child, I even got a very serious accident. And for a whole year, I was out of work. My child was delivered when I was in crutches, you know. And my wife really tried to support me because she believed in me. She saw me and she saw the kind of strength I have. Sure. She saw the kind of experience I have, the skills, the network, and she saw that this and even how I'm very dedicated to church. So she knew being, and my wife, by the way, she comes from a very strong religious background. So she believed that this man, if he can be able to get out of alcohol, we can have a beautiful marriage. And for a long time, she tried to support me. She tried to support me in the best way she could. You know. Yeah?
Okay, so I've really tried to understand you. You are in a marriage, but at the same time, you really having a challenge of alcoholism.
Exactly.
But your wife is really standing tall.
Yes.
To see into it that the husband,
yes,
who happens to be
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
yes,
crosses over to
Yes.
the next to the other side where he no longer drinks alcohol.
Exactly.
Now, just how did you get out of this alcoholism
So how
chains?
Yes, how I got out of alcoholism. There's a time I became so lonely. I became so isolated. And and on like 3 occasions I had a mental problem.
Okay.
And I was admitted in a mental facility because I got severely depressed.
Literally, so this dates us back to which year?
This one is around 2018.
Around 2018,
yes.
you had some mental
like
problems.
2018 and 2019.
Yes.
Those were my very, I can say those were my lowest moments. My lowest moments were late 2018.
Okay.
And the whole of 2019, I would say those were my lowest moments in my life. And my lowest moments in terms of struggling with alcoholism.
Okay.
I went through a terrible phase of my life during that time. I became seriously isolated. I got into serious depression. I got into mental facility like 3 times. So it became terrible. In fact, it became sad that I could not even imagine what is happening to me. By the time I went back to the drawing board and had a serious self-recollection. Yeah, I started
You self-examined yourself.
I self-examined myself and I said, what is this kind of life I'm going through? And I looked at some of my friends, you know, and I was comparing the kind of life they are leading and the kind of life I'm leading. And I was thinking, these are people who are even at some moment in life, I was ahead of them, and now they are enjoying their lives.
By a big margin.
The only thing that I have here is that I'm in a bondage. And this is somewhere that if I make up the right choices, I can get out of it. So that's the time I seriously started thinking about how can I get out of alcoholism and addiction. It was a cross addiction. At that time, I was addicted to alcohol. I was addicted to mirror. I was addicted to cigarettes. You know, so it was a cross addiction, and it was a very it was my lowest. It was very bad.
Sure.
So I started having started having self-examination. Of course, at that moment, so many people who had supported me for so many years were now giving up, and I was left with very few people. One of them is Father Evaristus, and I thank God for him.
Wow.
They really encouraged me and they told me, Collins, you can make it, you can make it. And they really tried to push me. Of course, I was trying and getting back, and along the way, I was also losing people at a very fast rate. Because I would stop, and after some time, I go back. People are giving up on me. And at some point, everybody say, this guy has now become a junkie. You know, he's become a junkie. Sure. And he cannot be helped. And
he's beyond repair.
So it really affected me because I was seeing this is something that is pulling me. It's affecting my marriage. It's affecting my responsibility as a husband and a father. And I'm somebody who really loved my family. It's affecting my relationship with my parents. You know, my parents-in-law, my biological parent, and my friends. Everybody was disappearing at a fast rate. Even in the church, some people now started disappearing.
So Bwana Collins, we are here at this point whereby you have undergone through all this experience.
Yes.
You have tried to rehabilitate.
Yes.
More than one time.
Yes.
And you still find yourself getting back.
Yes.
People have given up on making any attempts to try and rehabilitate you.
Exactly.
So, at what point?
I remember.
And when was this? When was this when you finally decided, okay, it is either now or never?
Yes, I remember at some point.
When was this?
That was the year 2020, April.
April 2020.
April 2020.
Okay.
I found myself in a very unfamiliar place. I found myself staying with some recovering alcoholics, people who are also still struggling with alcoholism. and I was in a very bad place. And I looked at myself and I said, what kind of life is this am I leading? And one day I remember, because now my family was far from me, I remember my daughter called me, and she asked me, Dad, how I called her, and she told me, Daddy, I'm okay, and I told her I'm also okay. And she told me, Daddy, I want you to buy me soda and cake. And I asked her, how much is it? And she told me it's 100 bob. And believe you me, I did not have that kind of money on me, and I did not even know where I'm going to get it.
From. Sure.
It seriously,
really hit you so hard.
hurt me.
Okay.
It's like an angel was talking to my daughter. And I'm telling you, that thing seriously hurt me. It hurt me. I just went back to the house. I closed myself in the house and I said, what is this? 100 shillings. And believe me, I cannot afford it. When I look around, I see some of my colleagues. You see now we are in the advent of social media. Somebody somewhere with his children in Java, with the family in Java, I don't know where, you know, they are enjoying life.
But you there,
going shopping and taking them to good schools, and they are struggling. I
not
said,
able even to raise 100 shillings.
yeah, and I don't know. And that time, imagine that time I had been abandoned by everybody. Even if I call somebody, but I need 100 bob as an emergency, they'll just, you know, this guy will just want to go and drink, you know, and I'll not get it. So it really hurt me so much, and I said, no, this has to stop.
Okay.
This has to stop. I have to stop this. And I said, now I'm not going to tell anybody that I'm going to stop drinking. I'm not going to tell anybody, because I've told so many people, and everybody was now telling me, Collins, don't tell us. You've told us enough. We are tired of hearing your stories. We don't want to hear it. You want to stop, you want to stop. If you don't want to stop, that is your own business. So I said, okay, now I'm not going to tell anybody that. I remember very well, it was 17th of April, 2020. And I said, from today, henceforth, I'll never touch alcohol again. And from today, henceforth, I'll never smoke again. And from today, henceforth, I'll never chew mirror or drink any form of alcohol. And that time I was very broke. I was broke. And I had no job, and I was trying to tarmac around. So I had a friend who was sustaining me. So I said, let me continue tarmacking, but the moment I get a job, I'll never try to use this kind of stuff again. So that was actually my turning point. And I had like 2 of my friends who were supporting me, and through them, after that, I got a job, and I was able now to journey through the recovery.
Thank you.
It was not easy, but I said I have to make it. I have to do it. I have to do it. And believe you me, I journeyed through the fighting the addiction. From there, I got another job, the current job that I have. I remember when I got this job, I was sent to Mombasa to go and work in Mombasa, and everybody was worried. Everybody was happy for my. You know, I had reformed, and so many people did.
So they literally thought you would remind yourself what you had.
Yes, because you see, most of my addiction started in Mombasa.
So maybe just to sum up the story,
yes,
I'll request that you use that camera.
Yes.
And in let's say a minute's time,
yes,
just address this person who is also in the bondage of drug addiction. Just speak to him or
yes,
her and let them know that it's possible to get out of the addiction.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, what I can say, having been a fully recovered addict, I can tell you that addiction is real. It is for me, addiction is like a disease. You don't know when it will attack you. You don't know how you get yourself there, but it is something that comes out of choice. It is the choice you make. It's the choice you make. So if you are somebody out there who is eagerly wanting to come out, believe you me, from my experience, it is not easy. It is not easy, but it is very, very possible. It's just a matter of taking a choice. Try to mirror that kind of life you want to have out of addiction. I can tell you the life out of addiction is very beautiful. I've tasted the life of partying. I've tasted the life of drinking socially once in a while. I've been into addiction, and right now I'm out of it. And I'm telling you, these 2 kind of lives, the life, living a clean life is more sweet than being into addiction. Yeah, there is something that is called delayed gratification. Sometimes you get yourself, you want to get out of it. Yeah, you say, I'm not going to drink, then puff, there's a party. There's booze there, people are partying, people are having fun. Then you get this kind of temptation. And let me just do it for today because there's an occasion. Please do not. If you want to get out of addiction, if you decided you're never gonna use those things, they're destroying your life, they're making you struggle, don't. Just try at that moment, pause and ask yourself, if I take this alcohol now, I've stayed for like 1 month clean. Today there's a party. I want to go back. Look at the journey we're going to take back.
Thank you so
Delay
much.
that gratification, and tomorrow you'll celebrate more.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
yes.
Thank you so much, Bona Collins,
Yes.
for making time to
Yeah.
share your story.
Yes.
Indeed, it is all about the choices that we make.
Yes.
Addiction is like a disease, and you never know where it hits you and when it hits you. But it's all about the choices that we make. That has been our program Mental Health on Top TV. My name is Daniel Sirengo.